Hi everyone, it's Nancy here, back with another process video for you. And I'm actually going to do something a little bit different on this layout, which does end up causing me a bit of bother, to be honest, really. I am still trying to get through my Project Life card stash, as you know, and so I decided to do a layout using some Project Life cards and then some 2x2 photos. And as I said, I really actually struggle getting this layout to come together. Actually, I actually really like the final outcome, but I did actually stop and leave this layout, which is very unusual for me. But I did actually stop the layout, stop recording, and then went away, done something else, and then came back 2 days later, which is really, really rare for me, because as you know, normally I'll sit down and do a layout in about 45 to sort of an hour to get a layout done. So I decided to use my Jade edition of Project Life because I hadn't actually used much of these cards, and I kind of knew that I wanted to kind of go with that colourway. You saw me previous to that just mounting a piece of Amy Tangerine Ready Set Go paper, and that's kind of got a sketch kind of pencil mark on it, and I mount that just on a piece of sort of, I suppose it's kind of like a grey-blue cardstock that came in a Scraptastic kit. So that's what I've done prior to just going through here, and as I said, I really could have actually cut this out because I am just going through Project Life cards and thinking about what I want to do. So I left two of the photos with a white border on, which I printed them with, and then I mounted two of them with that dark blue paper that I gutted from the back. And I really play about with how I'm going to use those photos. I think about clustering them into a 4, putting them in a line, using those 4x6 card. So yeah, I'm really going to have a bit of a play about really with how I'm going to do that. I decide then about trying to line them up. Again, I've just got these cards out, and I know I want them on here somehow. And I thought I'd leave this in because I know that some people like me also struggle to use Project Life cards, so maybe me showing you the kind of different ways that I had a few photos planned to use on here might spark an idea off in your head. So I then pulled out a piece of paper from the print shop collection, and I didn't end up using that either, because at one point I was going to box them all together and cluster them in. I then decided I haven't used some doilies lately, so I put out these two very small doilies, and they fit perfectly actually on these Project Life cards. So I'm really happy with how that looks. And at this point I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to go 2 photos. Then I start to lay the cards out, and end up really liking how this kind of placement looks. But still, as I said, it does cause me a real headache. And, how I'm going to place the photos, how things look. I do just cut that 4x6 card down, and then just use my corner rounder to do the corners. The corner's not exact, but match the Project Life one, but I decided I'm not going to be too worried about that. I then play about that I want sort of the two ones with doilies on opposite sides of the page, and I decide to settle on this placement. So I decide that background is a bit plain, and because they're just a single Project Life cards, I'm not really going to add any sort of like more layers behind them. I do actually end up adding layers, but at this point I wasn't going to add more layers behind them. So I start off by just spraying the mists on, and that is the Dilutions turquoise, and then I'm sprayed some my mind's gone blank. It's the Heidi Swap Seafoam, and then I'm using some of the Crafty Notions just light blue as well. I then take one of the Glitz Design rollers and just use my wet cement ink from Hero Arts and put that over it. So I'm just building up that background texture, but in doing that, of course, because I sprayed it on pattern paper, it does really buckle. I'm just using the chevron as well, and I said I don't know if that kind of hindered me in a way. I think it did, but yeah, it really ends up buckling, and the layout is still really buckled now. I have had it weighed down, but I think because I gutted it out as well, it kind of was very flimsy in the middle. So I probably should have sprayed it before I mounted it, but hey, that wasn't the plan then. So yeah, live and learn. So now I'm back to sort of playing with these layers and how I want them to look. And I actually really like the smaller photos. I did again print this using the Pick Frame app, so I mounted 4 photos on a 4x6. Well, it was a 4x4 cube, but then I cut them out, and these are just 4 photos from a series that were taken with me dyeing my bestie Laura's hair. She decided she wanted to go for the ombre effect, so I set about creating that for her. And sort of these are kind of like different stages along the way, really. So sort of me ready with the colour in the top photo, and then when we kind of washed out the first colour, and then me applying, you know, colour, and then just how it looked at the end. And you know, she was really happy with how it looked. And I looked like a scary stalker person with my face in the background, or with my mouth open. A bit random. But yeah, so I just wanted to document it because, you know, it was a really fun day. This was the day that I also done Day in Life for the Wheelcraft for Supplies Facebook page, and so I, you know, it was already recorded in somewhat, but I actually just wanted to just record, you know, this occasion because it was funny and the photos were really funny, and we do love taking photos. We take so many photos when we're together. I have pulled out those stars, and they're glittery foam stars, and they are from Christmas about, probably about 3 years ago, and they were really cheap. But I'm trying to use those up. I've then gone through my Scraptastic wood veneer box, and I pull out those 2 frames. They did have words in them, but I actually cut those out. And then I'm also just going through the wood veneers if there's anything else that I can pull onto this layout. I go through all these wood veneers but don't actually end up using those, and just pull out a couple of arrows. I also have the Alison Craft Recorded Collection chipboard buttons that I'm trying to use up, and these 2 went really well with actually the colours that I went for on this layout. And so I am going to end up putting those on. I did pull out those doily wood veneers, but haven't been able to get them to work on this layout either. So I'm just kind of happy with how that's looking, and I just kind of had to just cut there's kind of like a nodgy bit of wood where I'd cut the word out of that one. And I'm just going to use my Cosmic Shimmer white glue, forgot what it's called then, just to stick that frame down over the doily in the photo. Well, the photo is a little bit wonky, so I do have to correct that. But really I'm happy actually how that's kind of clustering, and it's starting to build up some layers. And so I stick down the arrows because I think it just kind of adds some sort of flow to the page. And yeah, I really like just how they look, and it kind of brings the wood to a different section. I am going to have to mount those buttons just with a little bit of 3D foam behind them, because they're going to be going over the frame as well. And I'm also actually going to use some of the sort of waxed twine that came with those Alison Craft buttons just to put through the middle. So I'm really happy actually that I got those buttons used up. Here I'm just taking a little bit of American Crafts Power Glitter paper just to add behind those cards, and this is where I start to add a few more layers because I don't know, I just don't like sticking a photo on a piece of paper. You know, there has to be a few more layers for me. So I've just added that, and it just adds a little bit of sparkle because the stars are sparkly as well. I really love how they look. And I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here because my video has frozen. Oh, there you go, I'm just threading that twine through as I said. So, and it's kind of at this stage where I get a bit stuck. I think this was about 11:30, 11:45 at night. I've had a really crappy week when I was doing this. I mean, because this was like the Friday evening, I had a really crappy week and just wasn't, I don't know, wasn't in the mood, had lots of other stuff on my mind, and I think that was just kind of hindering where I was going with this layout. So I'm going to go through my die cut box, pull some other bits out to see if they're going to work on here. Going to end up sticking, well, not sticking anything else down, but cutting a few pieces out. But then I kind of just realised, okay, this is not working for me. Let's just put it away, sleep on it, and then we'll come back to it really. So there will be a kind of slight jump in that in the video when that happens. So now I'm going, right, this is it, I'm not going to get anywhere. So now you'll see that I have pulled out some other supplies, and these are some Project Life cards from the Midnight edition. I've also got a piece of packaging which came in a quirky kit, and that was from the DIY cork stickers. I've pulled out a little bit of acetate there which says love, and I've decided the way to go with this is to start adding some more layers. So first I've just cut these out of the Project Life cards, and I would say that, I would really recommend that, because often they have got designs just on one part. So I cut that out, and that makes a really good tab, you know, to cluster and layer behind things. So I'm just adding that to the top and bottom clusters because, sort of Project Life cards, because that's the ones that were the most bare, I suppose. So really happy, you know, feeling much more inspired to this, and this is then Sunday that I picked this layout up again. And as I said, that the DIY packaging is just the wood grain, but what I like about often using packaging is because it's a shiny, slick texture, so it brings another texture to the page. And you know I love sort of mixing textures. Paper-wise, I'm not a big mixed media fan, as you know, but I like, you know, adding the glitter paper in with the shiny papers, etc. So I'm just pulling out my fonts, and I pulled up that turquoise one but didn't have any letters on that. And I decide that I want to put my title as Always an Adventure, and then it comes to me that I have that Always acetate word piece, and that's from the print shop collection, you know, the one that famously accompanies the Life one. But I thought, okay, that's going to be a perfect way to use this up, and it also has got kind of like a horizontal stripe through, so it's going to pick up the horizontal stripes in the other one. I also pull out the etc one, thinking I may use that, but that doesn't end up on this layout at all. You saw me just pull a little die cut out that said love you, and I stuck that down. And then I decided that I was going to maybe put my title there, going across that middle, so I do end up pulling that up eventually, and it doesn't leave that much of a mark on the paper. I've just used the Amy Tan Goodness font for the Anne, and then I've got these other Amy Tan font, which is the sort of rubberised one, and I really like this font, and I love the grey as well. And I'm going to do Adventure. I don't end up putting that across the middle in the end. And that ends up on the bottom. I know that it does look quite confusing because there's the other word ones, and it kind of says Always, Life, Pictures, Word, and Love, Adventure, if you read it that way. I don't. It doesn't bother me. I'm actually really happy that I used one of those acetate words. I I just use a little bit of glue on those chipboard ones because they're not really great at sticking. So love how this is looking now. I really struggled with it, but I think, you know, sometimes fresh eyes, new day can really help. I'm just going to stick down those couple of stars, and then use some of the punctuation marks that are on that rubbery sheet, which is kind of good. Add some little, almost like a enamel dot looking even. So yes, that is really kind of coming together now, and I'm happy with how it's looking. You will see there that I did just pull out the Amy Tan +1 sticker sheet, and I am going to use a couple of stickers off there and just add to each of the clusters. I do pull off the word happy and add onto the wood frame, and then I don't have another word that looks right, so I'm going to just use the font that came with that sticker sheet to add that to that bottom layer. And to be honest, I just stuck them on the wood frame. I pushed them down really well, and so far so good, they're sticking fine. So yeah, so that was this layout. I hope it's inspired you to use your project life cards in some way, and even though I struggled, I wanted to leave it all in this video so you could see actually sometimes you just need to walk away and come back. So here are some close-ups of the layout. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with some more process videos soon. Alright, thank you very much. Bye!